What up, fantasy football hustler back at ya.
What's good with it? Bogey and this bitch.
And we got an IDP video for you IDP freaks out there. We're definitely going to be answering some questions. If you got some, throw them in. But we are continuing our targets and fade series, and we're bringing it over to the IDP side. We're going to break down 3 positions this week, but we're starting off with the linebackers because if you are playing IDP 1, 2, 3 format, you got to have those linebackers, baby. All the money's at. So, for those who don't play in IDP 1, 2, 3 scoring, I'll break it down a little bit real quick. So, we start off with the assisted tackles, 1 point. The solo tackles, 2 points. So that's what it's all about. It's all about the solo tackles. The big plays, the sacks, the interceptions, the touchdowns, all those are 6 points. Forced fumble and recovery, those are 3 points each. The passes defended, which is a very huge stat, in my opinion, 3 points as well. I think it should be more valuable than a solo tackle. And if you're able to rack up some QB, it is 1 point for that. That's something you got to pay attention to because not every QB hits 1 point. Okay, my bad. Sack is 6, sack, touchdown, interception, those are 6. The QB hits are 1, but you got to pay attention because not every format has the QB hits involved. So it is default on Sleeper. But if you play on Yahoo, ESPN, Network, like you got to be paying attention if that stat like even exists on those format and add it so you can have a true IDP 1, 2, 3 over there.
And I'll bring up why I love the QB hits scoring format when I get to some of my targets later.
We're going to start this off. We're going to do this very similar to what we did last week where we're going to break this down in 2 halves. So we're going to be talking about the top 12 because there's a lot of you crazy fools out there who only play with 1 IDP spot. So you may only care about the top 12 like linebackers or IDP players. And then it's going to be an open forum. After that, we give you 1 target and 1 fade within the top 12. But then we're going to give you multiple targets and multiple fades outside of the top 12. And we may be diving a little bit deep, but we're giving guys who we're targeting in a lot of these drafts where we start 7, 8, 9 defensive players. And these are guys who we're really targeting. Let me read off Sleeper's top 12. It's pretty wonky, but it is what it is. This is just the way that it's working right now. So Micah Parsons, highest IDP player off the board at ADP 50. Roquan, number 2. Foy Olakun, number 3. TJ Watt, number 4. Nick Bolton, number 5. Fred Warner, number 6. Devin White, number 7. It's crazy. Kayvon Thibodeau, he's got the linebacker DL eligibility. He's next on the list. So that is linebacker 8. Hassan Reddick, linebacker 9. Zaire Franklin, linebacker 10. Patrick Queen. She's a killer queen. 11. Will Anderson already in the top 12. But I'm going to throw in Quay Walker because like their ADP is.
Can I just start with a fade?
Yeah, go ahead.
Micah Parsons.
Hey, I'm with you. That was going to be mine if you didn't take him first.
That's why I jumped out the window. I was like, let me go for it.
Go ahead and give the why for the peeps because you and I are pretty much the same on this tape.
I think like Micah Parsons is someone like his rookie season was so polarizing because they didn't really have much at linebacker or edge rusher, so they had him playing both. You know what I'm saying? And he never left the field. And then last year, obviously the production fell. They didn't use him in that same facet as much. They still did though. But then now this year in the offseason, he's talking about he wants to be a traditional edge rusher. And that'll take him off the field a lot if they're not going to. I don't blame him for wanting that because they get the most money.
Yeah, for sure.
And he actually had success being an edge rusher. So it's just, you rarely see like Jimmy Graham. Like, listen, pay me like a receiver. No, you'll be the highest paid tight end. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to allow him to be like, listen, I want DN money now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And like
and Tino even said y'all crazy, number 7 defensive player of the year. Just because their
it's
defensive player of the year,
IDP,
yeah,
IDP.
doesn't mean it's gonna translate. Who won defensive player of the year last year? Nick Bosa?
Sauce.
Oh yeah, Sauce.
Oh yeah, was it Nick?
No, yeah, I think it was Nick
Because
for
I know Sauce got rookie defensive rookie of the year.
exactly. I'm pretty sure it was Nick Bosa, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not saying I don't like Nick Bosa for IDP. It's just one of those things you got to take him so high that I'm usually not giving
Yeah,
him.
and this is the sole reason I could say nothing else and just be like, that's why I don't take Parsons, because the reason he goes so high too is it's the name value. He got the star on his helmet. Most people that aren't like IDP degenerates, they say, "Oh, Micah Parsons.
Right.
Oh, Fred Warner. Oh,
Yeah.
TJ Watt." Like names that that are recognizable.
And
And
see,
it
and
tends.
let me
This is a
jump in.
good thing.
Yeah, let me jump into
Take
my
advantage of that. You know what I mean?
because you just mentioned his name, Fred Warner. Man, he's just going way, way
Yeah,
too
fade
high.
him.
Yeah, we're talking about Zaire Franklin is going like multiple rounds after him. Even if Patrick Queen is off the Baltimore Ravens next year, what the hell does that have to do with this year? He should be way higher. Him and Roquan killed it last year when they were on the field together.
Hey, Tino's in the chat right now. Yeah, fuck Fred Warner.
And Tino said nobody says Fred Warner. See, that's what's crazy is like we've seen it here, and Fred Warner's being drafted hella high, and then we explain why we wouldn't draft him that high, and
I
then
remember
falls. But
this is when like I started expanding my IDP leagues outside of the one that I'm in with Tino and them.
mhm.
And I remember we're in the draft, and this is with Marcus Grant and what's the other guy, the Asian dude,
James Coe
James Coe, and we're doing that draft.
and
And I remember,
he was on live with us as
yeah,
well.
I didn't want to say his name, but I remember drafting Fred Warner, and then Marcus Grant said, "Ooh, that's a good pick right there, Fred Warner." And they're all like in agreement. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great pick right there. And then you go, I think it's more of a bit of a homer pick for him. He's a Niner. There's better linebackers, Bill. And then I was like, what are you talking about? But then it was because I'm viewing from the scope of reality.
Right.
He's like arguably the best off the ball linebacker in the game. It doesn't translate to fantasy necessarily. You know what I mean?
And I might even say I think he's considered the best off-ball linebacker, the best linebacker in coverage. He's very highly touted in the real NFL.
He better get like 40 fucking passes defended or something. Like, give me 100 of those things.
Because he usually finishes as a high-end LB2, 13, 14, 15,
Yeah.
something like that. So if I got to draft him as LB6, it's going to be very hard to get him to pay off that ADP.
And just wait and take Greenlaw. If you're going to look at the Niners, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to, you know what I'm saying?
Greenlaw is going, so Fred Warner is going around 91 ADP. Greenlaw is going around ADP, is it 167? We're talking almost.
Oh, come on. Come on.
He should have been able to do it, man. I'm a little disappointed in him.
No, you can't get two more.
That is probably like the biggest example of all fade the number one option on that defense and go for number 2. And I guess Greenlaw's not even the number 2 if you consider like Nick Bosa up in there. We're talking just about the linebackers. Yeah, I want Greenlaw all day over Warren.
Yeah. And in leagues where I have to start a D end, like those are the crazy ones where it's not just grouped together at the DL spot.
Yeah.
And Nick Bosa is definitely a great target. But yeah, we don't play in those leagues.
Who's your target within those top 12? You got to have one. If you just have to pick one guy.
Okay, I'm just for the sake of not going like the chalky route, because like this is normally not how this would figure out in ADP. It's normally Olakun, Roquan, Bolton at the top 3 at the 3 spots. I like Quay Walker here.
Yeah,
he's what did he have? Close to 70 solos last year. He's more of the blue. He's more of the blueprint going into his sophomore year. Nick Bolton was going into his sophomore year versus some other sophomore linebackers right now because I already saw it from Quay Walker. Will he get behind the line and get QB hits and sacks and stuff like that? Probably not, because I think they're going to be a bad defense, but that's why I like Quay Walker so much. It should be a lot of teams running on them, defending their lead. Sorry, Packers fans, you're going to be bad.
I'm with you. I feel like it is because of dynasty that Quay Walker is like still so high. Not that I don't like him, because I do love him. It's crazy that he's being drafted inside the top 12 at the position, but he's worth it if you could get him like around 12. I think he outproduces that ADP. Because look at some of the guys who are ahead of him, guys that I really don't want.
I think Zaire Franklin, if this is how it was simulated in an actual draft, I love that. Like he's the middle linebacker for a cover 3 scheme. You know what I mean? Like those guys always eat.
Yeah, and I mean,
I think they're like one of the only cover 3 schemes left in the league. Everybody has morphed into that the two safety shell defenses. They still run that cover 3. You know what I mean?
My target is going to be, since you took Quay Walker, that was a nice one right at the end. LB13 going off the board after Will Anderson, for sure he's outpaying that. I'm going with Patrick Queen. People are fading him so hard because of Roquan being there, which we saw it last year. Both of them balled at the exact same time on the exact same team. So I don't know why anyone would fade him for that reason. And then people are fading him because they think he might get traded. If he gets traded, that means he's probably going to a place where he's going to be the dude in the linebacker core. A trade, I feel like, would only help him, just like how it helped Roquan. Like, he was killing it with the Bears. He comes over to the Ravens. They use him a little bit of a different way. They start mixing in INTs. He's getting behind the line of scrimmage, like all types.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the biggest difference to me. It was like now he's on a team that has a good offense. Where they're actually in some leads here. And that was awesome because it was short-lived if there was any concerns of how those two were going to operate together. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was very short-lived. We saw it, we're like, oh, it's on. You know what I mean? And now Queen's going later than he was early in the offseason. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And, yeah, I mean, it's like Zaire Franklin and Queen, like those. I'm probably taking Zaire Franklin because I'm chasing, but man, Queen, if he gets traded to the Washington Commandos, like he's immediately a starter there. And I think I would worry about him going to a team that has a great D-line. Maybe that if I had to find a concern about him being traded somewhere. Wink Martindale, he's over there in New York. I don't think Micah McFadden or Azeez Ojulari is really like wowing anybody. Like that could be a trade partner. Yeah. Have Bobby Okereke and fucking and Patrick Queen. And like I said, because Wink Martindale's their DC. He was the DC that drafted Queen to the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the correlations because we're gonna talk about some guys later who they got moved over to specific scheme fits. Guys who are going on their first year in other places. We'll talk about that soon. Now, okay. Now we're just going to get into literally everybody else. And I want to start with Crispy's question. And thanks, Dennis. I'll work on making these picks shortly. So Crispy asked Jordan Brooks' status. Now, his status, he's got the P on the probable, on sleeper and all that, which does give me a little room to pause because tears his ACL, was it week 16?
Week 17.
Oh, yeah, week 17. It was the championship.
He had one more game, and if you pace him out one more game, he's the number 1 linebacker.
Yeah, he killed it. He went out with a blaze of glory as well. If you had him on your
team. He put up like Dub in a Steamboat's format, which is a lot.
I remember he put up like 30 in our format, and he doesn't even play the whole game. That's what's crazy. That's how much of a savage he is. He's worth you taking a shot on because I don't think he's going to start the season on the pup.
I don't know. It's like he is young. So we've seen these miraculous things with these youngsters in their recovery in today's science, right? Even the Achilles is like the new ACL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it'd be like, you can never come back from the ACL. Then now it's fine. Then now it's like, you can never come back from the Achilles. And now it's multiple players. You know what I mean? Shout out to Deontay Foreman. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I mean, it took him like two calendar years, but then there's Cam Akers who came back within the calendar year. So there's, would I be surprised? Fuck yeah, if Jordan Brooks doesn't start on the pup. But yeah, it's dope because we're gonna get him. That should be a target outside of the top 12.
It for sure should be. It really depends on how far you get him down, but right now, when there's a lot of uncertainty still, you're getting him super low. If we get any kind of inkling that he's not starting on the pup, that ADP is just going to rise and rise because maybe only misses a couple games at that point. Super valuable. And all right, I'm going to get into my first target. And we got a few different ways that we could go about this. But yeah, so we've done the top 12 and we gave a target and a fade within there. And now we're going to work on some targets and fades. These are the guys who might not even get drafted if you play in just a couple, like Bogey said. If you play in a league where it's like one spot per position, these guys might not even be on your radar. But I'm starting with Nakobe Dean, someone who got like no playing time last year for the Eagles because they have TJ Edwards, who was like coming into his own end of his contract last year on his contract. And then they signed Kaiser White before they even draft Nakobe Dean over there as another inside linebacker. And so he has a short contract as well, just a 1 year. Nakobe Dean gets like no playing time. This year, both of those guys are out of the way. They said that he's going to be the middle linebacker there. They said he's never really going to be coming off the field. They said he's going to be wearing the green dot, which means he's the quarterback on the defense. And you're getting him for damn near free in these IDP leagues.
Yeah. It's funny because that's the thing about Bogard scot-free, right? I probably get it for free, like you said. I'll pay enough. I'll reach up and grab them over guys that I just don't want to have.
If you're not in a hustler league, though, like if you're not in a league with us, or like you didn't get invited to a league with people who are drafting with us, Nakobe Dean is not on the radar like that. He's really not.
I like Nakobe Dean a lot too because he's another one of those kids that those linebackers that's going to get behind the line of scrimmage because they got a good offense that's going to have the opposing offenses dropping back. Yeah. Like the Eagles they're one of the best offenses. They're going to run it up. That's where I'm going back to the comparison to Nakobe Dean going into his sophomore year. Nick Bolton, Nakobe Dean, he's the quarterback of this defense. One of the best offenses. I want that guy. I got a target. Here's one of my targets right here.
Let's get it.
White Boy Troy.
Yeah.
White Boy
and
Troy Anderson.
For those who don't know who White Boy Troy is.
White Boy Troy Anderson is the now starting middle linebacker for the Falcons. They got a new DC coming over from the Saints. So I expect them to run like that 4-2-5. Where they just got two inside linebackers predominantly because one of the other linebackers is going to play nickel, right? And one of those two linebackers is obviously going to be White Boy Troy. I don't really have any confidence in their D-line, so they're getting to that next level. Guys like Richie Grant were benefited from that last year playing the safety because, man, they're getting past that second level even, you know what I mean? And you bring in Caden Ellis, so he's going to be that other inside linebacker. And for years and years, we just saw whoever was the two linebackers for the Saints, they ate in fantasies without even. And then White Boy Troy we did get to see him last year. He flashed and he did close up the year being the starter. So now he's the full blown green dot. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, drafted in the second round. Falcons are super high on him. And then not someone I'll just stay on the Falcons for a second. Caden Ellis. And someone that if you're just in a deeper league, like that's like good depth right there. Let's jump back in to these targets. And our man Tino, he said, what did he say here? He said, I'll take Bobby Wagner. He's indestructible. The crazy thing is, it's not crazy that I'm with you on that. The crazy thing is how far down Bobby Wagner is being drafted and redrafted right now. Like
way lower than a CJ Mosley. And like,
He should
I
be
know,
top 5 right now in redraft for linebackers. Not
yeah,
even close.
I guess that should be a target. That's like that's a hustler special right there. The combination even of the CJ Mosley Bobby Wag. You feel me?
And that was like a last year's thing. And it's funny because there's so many
It still
people.
applies.
Yeah, so many
Now you
people.
can apply the value to it. I got one of my targets. Man, this is the guru special right here. You know what I mean? I remember making a phone call in a training camp during training camp last year. I said, "Hey, I'm in this draft right now. I'm thinking about taking Pete Warner. Tell me about him." You know what I mean? And he's like, because all I knew is that there's no Quan Alexander. There was no.
Yeah.
And with the 5-2, you know what I'm saying? Or the 4-2-5 that they like to run over there. I was like, okay, what's up with this Pete Warner kid? You know what I mean? Was he a third-year guy last year? Or was he a sophomore or third-year guy last year?
Pretty sure he's a sophomore last year.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, all about Pete Warner this year again. And the fact that he got hurt last year, it's baked into his ADP because, man, when he got hurt at that time, he was leading the league in solo tackles.
Yeah.
It was early on he got hurt, but he was balling early on too.
Yeah, he plays 12 games. He has 56 solo tackles.
Yeah, so at that time, I guess he was leading, or he might have been total tackles maybe at that time.
Maybe he had 80 total tackles when. I mean, I can't remember how the injury worked and when it was, but that's what he finished the season with.
You're right. He did come back at one point, then get hurt again. So it could have been when he got hurt early on in the year.
Yeah. And just while we're sticking there, not necessarily someone I'm targeting like crazy, but he goes so late. Demario Davis just on the same offense. He does nothing but get a shitload of tackles every year, no matter what. And it doesn't matter that he's like 35 or 36 years old. He's still fucking handling biz out there.
And then, speaking of the old guys that just handle biz, the guy I always confused him with, Levante David.
Yeah.
Over there with the Bucks, like just the super duper late guys that all they do is produce, and they'll get in your lineup. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd much rather have Levante David for free than paying up for Devin White.
Yeah, because Devin White too is now he's creeping back up. Like he's not. There's no value to be had with him
being drafted like last year, even like being traded kind of the way that he was. Yeah,
he was like the third guy. It was like Olukun, Roquan, then Devin White, like Jordan Brooks. Maybe no particular order, but Jordan Brooks. He was usually third. Jordan Brooks, you're right.
Yeah, Jordan Brooks was up there. I mean, in our dynasties, shit, Jordan Brooks was like the
number one.
People taking him over Roquan in some of them. But yeah, I'm with you on that one for sure. And let me see. So how about a fade? And man, someone that I'm fading super tough this year is Jack Campbell. And it's crazy because a lot of my fades are based around the rookie fade.
Yeah, I was about to say you're keeping it going though. Don't stop now. Yeah,
Jack. He was my like number one guy coming in for like rookie IDPs and still is because I think he has just as much potential as a Brian Branch and a Jordan Battle over the first 3 years to be like the top IDP guy coming out of this class. But he's getting drafted way, way too high for my liking. He's being drafted like he's about to be running 100% of the snaps. He is going to be a rotational guy to start the year. I bet Jack Campbell is one of those guys who's drafted and dropped by week 4 in a lot of these shallower IDP leagues.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to find a fade too for me because it's usually just people I'll just never have.
Yeah.
But if I had, for the sake of it, like TJ Edwards, because I don't really want to chase last year's production, but now he's on Chicago and the price we got to pay for him. Plus, it's really about the will linebacker in that system. Not to say that he's not going to eat. Obviously, the middle linebacker still ate like shit. Shaquille Leonard ate. Shaquille Leonard, Bobby Okereke ate like shit in that system as the middle linebacker before Zaire Franklin started getting in the mix. And then they moved Okereke.
TJ Edwards is the will. It's Tremaine.
Oh, my bad. I had that in reverse. My bad. Yeah. So you want the middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're paying
the middle linebacker. And they paid both of them. Tremaine got paid a little bit less.
A little more, yeah. Probably the youth. But also, I think because he's gonna be like the focal in his defense. I can't believe that. You know what's funny now? I think about it, I've been saying that shit backwards for 2 weeks. You know what I
It's
mean?
funny because Tino said I'll fade Pete Warner because the Saints D stinks. But here's
But that's
what
why
we
I want them. They're always
yeah,
on the okay. They're gonna be on the field a lot,
yeah.
and all they've ever done was rack up like though. It, I don't think they're gonna change their scheme. It's still Dennis Allen. You know what I mean? Like ultimately, even though he has a new D coordinator, it's an elevated guy from within. You know what I mean? Like I still see them running that 4-2-5 most of the time, and those two linebackers are just gonna eat.
One of my like early adopted IDP ideologies, and it's because of guys like DeQuell Jackson, just back in the day. Seeing him on Monday Night Football throw down like 20 solo tackles, I'm like, who the is this guy? And he is who started my ideology on the middle linebackers for the Browns. The Browns always had a shitty defense, but their middle linebackers were eating like nobody's business, and it still continues to this day.
Us knows in every one of these dynasty drafts, I just at one point or another, I just start grabbing all the linebackers. Even the middle linebacker depth. But the irony is, the one guy I never target is Anthony Walker because
The guy who was actually the starter.
The starter. He's not paid. Get the fuck out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they're inside. I guess you could say it's their inside linebackers. Period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every one of them ate, especially that middle linebacker though last year. Whoever stepped up, whether it was Jalen Phillips, what's his name? Jalen Phillips, or is it Jacob Phillips?
Jason?
I think it was Jason. Yeah, but Jay Phillips comes in there, motherfucking tears it up. Then he gets hurt. Then you know what I mean?
Tony Fields. That's
Tony Fields stepped in there, had a couple big spots there. You know what I mean?
And what is it? Shane Taki?
Yeah, before Fields actually. Yeah, Taki was putting up like dub.
Literally anybody, like insert middle linebacker name, they were the waiver wire pickup and they were the guy balling until they got hurt. And then you just insert the next man's name because they're going to ball as well. All these guys are not good. Anthony Walker's good. So, I mean, he warrants like being the starter. But yeah, like all these other guys are like second and third string guys who like they probably wouldn't sniff the field on 28 out of the 32 teams as a starter, but they got a chance. They're in a shitty offense that is designed for the middle linebacker to eat. What up, Derek? Salute.
What up, Derek? And on the flip side of that, too, like they bring over Jim Schwartz, renowned defensive coordinator. And if this offense takes an uptick, then maybe we see them start to get behind this line of scrimmage in some of these games. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because we like them because they're going to be playing from behind most of them. We could assume that. It's the Browns. That's still the Browns and the Jets. Maybe the assumption stopped this year.
We'll see. We'll see. And Marty said, "How do you think Nicholas Morrow will do? Dean should fill the TJ Edwards." Yeah, exactly.
They said Zaire. What's his name?
And they say he gets the Kaiser White spot.
Kaiser White. There you go. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Kaiser did not do that good last year, and so Nicholas Morrow, he's like a fade for me. I just want all the Nakobe Dean like over there, and then Hassan Reddick, like obviously, know, but he's going hella high. I don't want him because you have to draft him so high. But yeah, it's really just Nakobe Dean or bust over there for me because of the value where you can get him at. Nicholas Morrow is a value, but I don't want him. Like Kaiser White didn't do good last year.
Man, I had a fade. I drew Tranquil. It's the same scenario as like a TJ Edwards, where I'm just like, I'm not chasing last year's production and they're on a new team. And then Drew Tranquil too is not even listed as a starter at this point. And I don't think he beats out Willie Gay because Willie Gay actually has like a mini bag, right? Didn't he get like a little mini extension a year ago?
Yeah, nah, not really.
No? Okay, I had that wrong.
It's on his rookie deal. He's been a major disappointment. Like, I really think Tranquil starts over him.
Okay.
I was really high on Willie Gay. I was really high on Willie Gay coming out, like when and pause, not coming out.
Willie Gay
coming out in the draft. But I swear, like that was their Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick where they just completely missed. He was a second round high pick, highly touted. He was great in college. All these guys fucking are.
It says a lot when you double back the next year or like the year after, 2 years later, and you take Nick Bolton.
Yeah. And Derek, he said Nakobe Dean ain't gonna have no value in Bogey. He said you and Bogey draft him all early. See,
Hey,
I
hey,
don't
you don't talk about our Nakobe Dean.
I don't. Like that's the thing. Like I think the earliest that I've drafted him in any of these is like the 12th or the 13th round.
11.
Okay, maybe. And that maybe
X-Men. Because I took Elijah Moore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and everyone should know this, that if anything goes wrong with Nakobe Dean, it's because I have him everywhere.
We don't have much to go off of Nakobe Dean in year one. This is just like a real, just it's not a crazy.
We're swinging for the fences, man.
This is just one of those like when
it's fantasy math.
When Jordan Brooks was drafted, I got him in like the 6th, 7th round everywhere. Like maybe people weren't paying attention as much, but I was talking about guys like that. He's a first round draft capital, but people are going to fade him because he's not going to start year one because he's going to be behind Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright. Logan Wilson, man, I was so on him. Even though he was a 3rd rounder, very similar to Nakobe Dean, but he's got a guy in front of him who's on a 1-year deal. Crazy. Surprise, Nakobe Dean is behind 2 guys who were on either last year in the contract or a 1-year deal. So it's like these ideologies that I've been throwing out there about these 1st to 3rd, maybe even 4th round linebackers who are taken. If they're taken for because they're going to be playing year 2, like the teams are putting a lot of draft capital into that. And that's why he was a 3rd round pick. All right, guys, we'll see you soon for FNT. Now.
Peace.
Defense on me.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night. If they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.